Hello all, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today we are going to see the lead and lag window function in PySpark. If you know the SQL, I think you already know the how window function will work, and lead and lag are the part of window function. So basically, if you try to understand the window function, so we will create a window from the data and then we apply the window function, that is lead and lag, then first and last, sum, mean, max, count, right, etc. So that function we apply on the specific window. So let's start with the practically how we can use the lead and lag function for the data. So firstly, if I start with the data, I just inputted all the functions from pyspark.sql.function. All the functions we want to input. If any function we can use, if you inputted all the function, we can use any function that we required. Now we required all the types and we want to use the window function, that window we want to create. So this is the function we like. We need to input the this window syntax, right, window library or like module, right, from pyspark.sql. Here w is small, and when we import this one is the module is the capital. So that thing you just need to remember, this starting w of this import must be capital. Now let's see the data. Whenever you add the data, it must be in square bracket, and under this data, this is the first row, that must be in the round bracket, and we have the four column, 1 2 3 4. Again, like this is the second row, this is the third row, sorry, this is the fourth row, and this is the fifth row. Now you may wonder, this is duplicate record, but this is not duplicate. Now this is the, if you see the sales and date, it is different, right? So it is not duplicate record. Now in PySpark, data is separate and columns name or schema is separate. So first column name is ID, second column name is name, third column name is date and sales. So basically this data, we have the two employees, two sales employee, and their each day sales we are having, right? Maybe $100 or something, right? Now we got the sales, we got the data, we got the columns. So we need to create a data frame. Data frame means we need to create a table, right? So when we need to create the table, firstly we use the Spark instance, and this is the function that we are using, and then we need to pass the data variable and columns variable or schema variable. Now we are going to create a date column, because at the starting this date is string format. So we are creating a date column, same column name, and we are convert into the data type, right? Now when I run this code, we will get the our actual data frame. So this is the output we are getting. If you see, we have the four columns and we have the fifth row. Now what we want, suppose it may possible that some of the time we want to see the, now currently we have the like only 5 or 6 row, but if you have the thousands of records and we want to see like want to compare the day by day sales for the each employee, right? So now what happened, you want to see, now currently we can see the sales of this date, but now we want to see the last day sale. Right now for the first January we have the $100 sales, and second January we have the $150. Now what happened for the John, we want to see what is the sales for the first Jan, right, and what is the sales for the second Jan. We want to compare both one. So at that time we don't want, like when maybe you confuse, when need to use the group by function and window function. When in group by we do the summarization of data, or like we reduce the data, but in window function we do not reduce the data, we just add the new column to do the analysis, right? So that's why we use the window function. So in window function we don't do the summarization of the data. So that thing you need to remember. Now let's see, suppose now we want to see the previous sales, right? So what happened, in the existing data frame we just create a new column, right? And now what is the new column name? Suppose previous sales, right? Now I use the lag function. On which column we need to use the lag function? So we want to see the previous sales, so that's why I use the lag function here, right? And now we want one row back, it will work as a row by row, so that's why I use the 1. Now, so this lag function we applied, now we want to apply on this window. So firstly, I think, I forgot, firstly I will create a window. So now I'm sorry, just like I forgot to create the window. So firstly, what happened for this John, if you see, for this John we will create one window, and this one we will create a one window, and then we will apply the function. So don't worry, firstly I will create a window, and for that window I stored in the w. So I will capital window dot partition. So we want to do the partition of the data by id or name. So both are like, if you see here also both have the same values, like 1 and John, both are the same. So we can create a window on single column or both the id and name column. So partition by, if you see now we are, let me remove this one. So now I can remove this one. We want ascending order, so I can remove this one, right? So window dot partition, first parameter is like, our first function is partition. So you want to create window by id, or if you want you can give the name also. Firstly, now keep it as it is, id only, and then we want order by, let me add one more function. So okay, so order by, so either you can use this call function or you can remove it, no worries. So window dot partition, we want to do the partition on the basis of id, and after the we'll get the result, we want this date must be in the ascending order. Currently we are not providing any order, so it will give the ascending order. So now if you see, if I, now we created the window, right? Now we want to use the, what we want to use the lag function. So now df dot with column, this is the, like, we are creating a new column, so that's why I use the with column function. And what is the name of the column? So name of the column is previous sales, right? Now I want to, we just give the name, but now how that what exactly that column contain the values? So we use the lag function. So under lag, what exactly we want to go the one row back. So on which column we want to go the one row back? So sales is the function that we want to go the one row back. So sales. Now after that, in the lag we have the two parameter, right? So first parameter is the column name that we want to go back, and then the number of row we want to go back. So we want to go one row back, so that's why we given the 1. And then we want to apply that all this lag function with column on the basis of over dot over on w, right? And now let's see the result. So we apply. Now if I show you what result we will get, so if you see, I just focus on this one. So now if you see, data is, this date is already sorted. We have the first Jan, second Jan, third Jan. So now if you see, this one we don't have any row back, we can't, like, there is a no row, like this is the starting row, so we don't have any value. So that's why this first row we are giving the null. But now in the second row, if I go one row back, this is the now current row, and if I go one row back, so we are having the value 100. So here it coming as a 100. Now for the third row, again if I go one row back, we are getting 150. So that value is coming here, right? For the Smith, now again this is the different partition and John is a different partition. So that's why again for this 300 is the one partition. So we don't have any data before 300. So that's why it getting the null for this value. Under 400 we have the this 300. Now one thing, now suppose currently we are getting the null values. Suppose if I don't want to show the null values, so what we can do, we can give the third parameter and there we can add the 0. And now if I run this code, if you see, null will be replaced by the 0, right? So, and one more thing, if I like go 2 rows back, 3 rows back, so that also I can give. If I now give the 2 rows back, and whenever we have the zeros, that I want to replace with the whenever we have the null values, that we want to replace with the 0. Now let's see, we given the 2 rows. So the first row, there is a no 2 rows back, right? We can't go 2 rows back, so that's why it's giving null. So that null we replace with the 0. For this one also, we can't go 2 rows back. Like we can go, but there is no values, right? So that's why it's giving the 0 also. For this one, for this third row, basically, so if you go to the 1 row back, 150, 2 rows back, 100. So we are getting the 100, right? And here we are getting the 0 because we have the only 2 row partition, so we can't go 2 row back. So that's why getting the null values, and that null we replace with the 0 here. Now one thing, like suppose if I add 1 and run it, let's run once again this code. Now if you see, 1 row we are getting, for this row if I go to the 1 row back, we are getting 100. But what if I add -1? Can you guess what exactly the output we will get? So maybe if you think like it will go 1 row back, no, it will go next row. So under lag, if you add plus +1, it will go 1 back, but if you add -1, it will go next. Now here 100, if I go to the next row, we will get the 150, right? So let's run the code. I will give the example, like, so whenever in the lag function, if you add -1, it will go next. Now if you see, we added a -1, so it will go to the next row. So next row we have the 150 value, so it coming here. For this one, for this row, if you go to the next row, so 200 coming here, right? So this thing you need to keep remember. Like if you want to replace the null values, if I remove this one, the 0, we will get the null values, right? But if you want to replace that null, we need to give one more parameter and need to give the 0, right? So now if you see, we will get null will be replaced by the 0. Now let's see, we have gone 1 row back, 2 row back, right? If I want to go 2 row, 1 row, next row, then we have one more function, that is lead. Lead means it will go to the next row, and lag means it will go to the previous row. Now df dot syntax is again same with column, and I can go to the next cells, or you can give any name. Now lead with our function name. Now on the which column we want to go next row, suppose sales 9, right? And how many row we want to go forward, that is 1. And I don't give any any values for the null, so as keep it, I will keep as it is, and give the dot over, and we want to apply that function on partition, this partition, and then we want to see the result and show. Now if I run this code, I think it will get some error because sales, let me copy this sales column. We have done spelling mistake, and if I run the code once again, now if I scroll down, we created one more. Now this is the previous cell and this is the next cells. So this is the previous cells and this is the next cells, right? Now if I next cell, if you see, if I next row, so here getting for the first row, next row is 150, right? So that value is coming here. For this 150, next row is 200, but after 200 there is no value, so that's why we are getting the null. Again for this Smith, next row is for this window, basically next row is 400, so we are getting the 400 for the this Smith first row. And now you are wondering again, if you want to replace that null with the 0, how we can do that? So just give the one more parameter, that is 0, right? And now if you see this one again, like in lead function, if you use -1, it work as a lag function. So if I go and give the -1, and if I run this code, if you see both the previous value, let me show you. If I remove this -1 from this lag, now you will see both next cells and previous cell have the same values. So if you see under lag function, we are given the just +1, but in lead we are given the -1. So if you use the -1 in lead function, then it work as a lag function, right? So if you see, this is 0, this is 0, this is 100, this is 100, this is 150, this is 150, again this is 0, this is 0, and at the last we have 300. So just keep in mind how to replace the null values and what happen if we give the -1 in the lead and lag function. So that's all about the today's video. If you have any question, any doubt, please write down in comment, and please subscribe the channel. Thank you.